The Tim Dillon show is disorienting and disturbing, says Jacobin. And I thought that this would be a good way to round out the segment on Rogan, because Rogan is responsible for a lot of things, right? He's responsible for a rise in Andrew Schultz's career. He's responsible for a rise in, Andrew Santino's career. But he's also, I think, most importantly, in the year 2025, Gavin, responsible for Tim Dillon's career. Tim Dillon was a guy that I had never heard of before I started regularly watching the Joe Rogan Experience. He blew up doing his Meghan McCain shit, right? He was doing his impersonations of The View. And now we have this Jacobin article, which I thought was particularly interesting. And I was excited to get Gavin's reaction to it because it brings up David Lynch in Mulholland Drive in a way that I found unsuspecting. It says, with his unique blend of craft mastery and psychosis, David Lynch produced films that were both immediately unintelligible and compelling. It's the sign of good art to elude the standard coordinates of interpretation and present something gripping to its audience, even if that thing is, at its very core, utterly horrifying. Comedian Tim Dillon does not have the kind of cinematographic tricks that Lynch used to conjure terrifying and hallucinatory scenes, but he manages to do so anyway. For the uninitiated, most of the episodes of the Tim Dillon show feature Dillon talking at the camera behind oversized shield sunglasses and against a pastoral background. He'll occasionally have guests on, but these episodes are departures from the norm, yada, yada, yada. He says, wavering between irony, outrage, and hallucination, the Tim Dillon show presents the same question that any viewer of Mulholland Drive must ask. What am I watching? It's right-wing, but not straightforwardly so. It's ironic, but also strangely sincere. Alone behind his sunglasses, yada, yada, yada. Very interesting intro here. But what I wanted to ask you about after I read this article, one, what did you think of the David Lynch intro, which I kind of already had spoiled? I know we talked about it a little bit. And two, do you think Tim Dillon is more...
Wait, what did you spoil?
Oh, that I know a little bit about what you think of the Mulholland Drive thing in the intro. But also, do you think that Tim Dillon has been more successful because he does subvert his right-wing ness a little bit and try and make it a little more tongue-in-cheek and a little more ironic so that he has the ability to, plausibly deny just how right-wing he is, whereas a guy like Rogan is just kind of out there as he is and without any plausible deniability at this point?
I mean, I get what the writer is trying to say, but I do find it to be a pretty lazy comparison. No offense to the author of this article. Who is it again?
It's a gentleman named Benjamin Fong.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate, I get it that everyone wants to, ever since David Lynch passed away, everyone now it's the hot thing to be I know who David Lynch is, and I want to compare everything to David Lynch and talk about how Lynchian it is. And it's all right, it's just a little bit annoying to see this explosion and everyone having to compare everything to David Lynch and make these this is Lynchian. It's actually it's not really that Lynchian. I get what he's saying about Tim Dillon. I think he could have made this a similar point without invoking David Lynch's name and acting somehow Tim Dillon's skills as a comedian are analogous to David Lynch's as an artist or as a filmmaker. To me, I find that to be disrespectful. I do think Tim Dillon is one of the funnier people in the right-wing comedy scenes. I'm not going to deny that. But to put his brilliance or his genius or whatever on the level of freaking David Lynch, I think is insulting to David Lynch, who again just passed away. His body is barely fucking cold. Do we really need to be writing think pieces about how hack right-wing idiot pieces of shit are the fucking the comedian version of David Lynch? And I don't know. It's just I don't really think that when I watch Tim Dillon's comedy, again, I can see the sophistication in it compared to some of his peers, but I've never thought, Mulholland Drive has never come to my mind.
I also
while watching fucking Tim Dillon or while listening to Tim Dillon, that's crazy. That would be I don't know. It's just weird.
If you really wanted to do it, I think that there would be a way to draw a Dr. Jacobin parallel from the Twin Peaks: The Return to some of the modern podcasters, and we got to shovel ourselves out of the shit. That would be where I would have gone if I was trying to make a comparison to Bro Rogan comedy sphere and David Lynch. But I just couldn't resist the urge to get your reaction to that, because I had wondered if you would be this is tired and gauche, or if you were wow, this guy's a genius, because I'm sure he felt like he was really waxing when he was putting it down. But I think unfortunately, because of the clumsy analogy at the beginning, which I get is just to compel people and make them read on, it does lose what or you could lose and miss out on what is a pretty interesting point, and that is the fact that Tim Dillon is so much smarter than his peers.
Yeah, and there's no denying that. It's part of the reason why I'm frequently very disappointed in Tim Dillon for pandering to the kind of people that he does pander to, and like for having the kind of guests on that he has. I'm like, there is potential here. Like, you could really be an interesting conversationalist, interesting comedian, an interesting interviewer, if you wanted to. And you see flashes of that. Like, I thought he actually handled the Marjorie Taylor Greene interview pretty well, but I don't know. Oftentimes I'm disappointed by him. I think that he has more potential than he sometimes lets on to. But ultimately, yeah, I think this article is a little bit lazily written. It seems like someone who just found out about David Lynch a week ago, and now they're just like super eager, to flex their understanding of his oeuvre by writing some dumb fucking piece in Jacobin. Again, no offense to this guy. He might be a lovely motherfucker. I might get along famously with Benjamin Fong. We could probably, while the night away over a bottle of wine talking about fucking David Lynch movies or whatever he drinks. I don't know why I said bottle of wine.
Gavin, that
sounds romantic. I was like, I don't know about that.
Share a bowl of spaghetti.
A six-pack of beer. Me and Benji will, chat about Twin Peaks. But no offense to this guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm just being a nitpicking asshole who loves to gatekeep David Lynch because I've been a fan of his for my entire fucking life. And it is annoying seeing, again, everyone all of a sudden be like, this is Lynchian. I know what Lynchian means. It's like, shut the fuck up, bro. Just chill out.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there. Be there.